I'm Donnie.
Hey, I'm Megan. And last year, I realized, maybe pretty clearly, that I should go talk to somebody and go seek counseling, because I kept telling people to go find help, and I wasn't doing it myself.
Okay. So where did you go?
So I went to you.
So Megan came in and we began to talk about some of the issues that she was experiencing, and we quickly figured out that it was anxiety. And so instead of starting right where we were, we went backwards, and we went to when you were a little girl, and we started talking about the things you were experiencing and feeling. So you want to share with them some of those things you were feeling?
Yeah, that was a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
Those are not, you asked some tough questions that I didn't want to answer, but reluctantly I did. So the biggest thing was I realized that as I was growing up and through my childhood, like I felt like there was something like internally wrong with me. Like even to the point I said, I felt like God created me wrong. Like I felt like he messed up when he made me. And that's where my mind was. That's where I was at. And that's where we started walking through.
Yeah. So then we went from that, and then we gradually got to where she is now. And we began to do it. It's an exercise that I've used a lot of times. I'm an old dude, I'm sorry, but I write on 3x5 index cards, and I would give Megan homework every time when she would leave and tell her to bring the card back with her. So one time I put on there for her to look in a full-length mirror and come back and tell me what she saw. So what did you discover?
Well, I didn't want to do it, but I'm a rule follower, so I was going to do my homework. But I looked in the mirror and I saw a lot of negative things. Honestly, I wrote down a lot of negative things about my appearance, or went more into like being a mom or being a wife, and that shame and guilt that I was feeling. And so that's where I came back to you and brought this card of a lot of negative things.
Yes, I think almost all of the things on the card were negative. So then after we talked about those things and we worked through those things, then I gave her a card to take home that said, how does God see you when you look in that mirror? And how did that change things for you?
That was a big change. Everything I came back the next week, written on that card, was positive. I looked at the truths and the promises that he's made us, and that I'm a child of God, and that
you're his beloved.
Yeah.
You're the apple of his eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool stuff. So then where did we go then?
Well, then we started talking about how my husband sees me. And so we went through a lot of different things on how I perceived people saw me, but then how it truly was. And those things were positive too.
And so there was a lot of other work that went into it, and we covered a lot of ground. And so finally I told Megan, I said, so whenever you think you're done, you got to tell me that you don't need to come in here every week. And so finally she got to that point, and it was really a good day for both of us. But then probably about 3 or 4 weeks later,
I think so.
Tell them about you popping into my office and what you said.
Yeah, so I walked in Donnie's office and I said, I have to share something with you that just happened last night. And as I was standing in front of the mirror, of all things, right? I was standing in front of the mirror and I was looking in there, taking my makeup off just the end of the day. And I looked in the mirror and I saw a different reflection than I've ever seen before. I saw a positive one. I saw how God saw me. And it was a changing moment in my life. It changed the direction of my life. It changed how I thought about myself and how I feel about myself now. So I was able to look at myself, and I looked in that mirror and I said, I'm proud of the person I'm becoming. And that was, I've never said that before. Never said I'm proud of myself in my 33 years.
That makes my heart so happy. So let's wrap this thing up. So tell me what's the biggest change in your life since you decided to seek some help and some counsel?
I think the biggest change is I started to have confidence in myself. I started to realize what anxiety was and how I was dealing with it. And then there was a lot of other factors in my life. It wasn't all anxiety. Like I thought anxiety was all this one thing, but really it was stress and it was pressure and it was all these different pieces. And so that was the biggest thing. And it was almost like my anxiety was this big bowl of spaghetti, but now it's like compartmentalized, and I have all these different pieces that I can recognize and manage how I deal with each situation.
As you can tell, Megan was an excellent student. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.